Hey, what's up? We need to get this project done.
What project?
Our documentary on marijuana.
Oh, yeah. When is that due?
Tonight.
Crap. Okay.
Yeah, so did you all do your research?
I did a little, but it's not done.
Who cares? What do you have?
I have the history of marijuana. Okay, the first step to understanding why legalization of cannabis is a good thing is knowing the apparently unknown history of cannabis in the United States. Why the criminalization of cannabis is not only unfair to the people, but violently foolish when it comes to everything that hemp and cannabis can do. Hemp in the United States dates actually back to the English colonies. In fact, the Virginia Assembly of 1619 declared law that farmers should grow hemp and it could be used as actual currency. Weed and hemp were part of our culture for over 300 years, completely legal until hysteria and racism towards Mexicans changed that national view of hemp and marijuana. The 1930s brought radically conservative biased research which tried to link cannabis use to insanity and crime. In 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act rendered marijuana illegal on a federal level. Then in 1951, even stricter punishment laws were passed against the drug. A first offense could land you anything between 2 to 10 years. Throughout the reign of reefer madness, massive amounts of research by LaGuardia found no ties between weed and insanity or violent crime. Hemp cannabis even had massive effects on our national wars, providing materials for clothing, parachutes, medicine, and various other materials, and even sometimes food itself. The 60s brought a massive powerful counterculture in the form of smelly hippies, which helped to change the national view on weed and even caused 11 states to decriminalize it. Unfortunately, conservative tides shined again in the 80s with the war on drugs, which led to sentence increases and the infamous three strikes policy. Recent events of our present state have seen the national view lean towards a much brighter stance on cannabis, but it deserves to be legal on a federal level due to the simple fact that every reason it has been proclaimed dangerous has been proven wrong, and what horrible after effects have been left from the war on drugs. We know exactly what legalization can do to benefit our country and society, but the simple historically reoccurring statistic sits that the only reason cannabis remains legal is thanks to the racist attitudes that continue to haunt our great again country.
Wow, weed's been around for a long time. Why is it taking so long for it to become legal medically?
Well, it's been stigmatized for a very long time, so it looks bad.
Became legal, it has affected the pharmaceutical companies in a pretty big way.
What do you mean?
The legalization of marijuana has impacted the pharmaceutical industry by causing painkiller and overdose rates to be significantly lower in medical marijuana states. Knowing that Arizona's overdose rate is extremely high, this will potentially save lives and threaten the pharmaceutical industry because of marijuana's natural benefits. In marijuana legal states, the average doctor prescribes 265 fewer doses of antidepressants, 486 fewer doses of seizures, 341 fewer anti-nausea cases, and 562 fewer doses of anti-anxiety. As of right now, in 2018, Arizona's opioid epidemic rates have been scarily increasing by the thousands. In 16 months, the number of suspect opioid deaths in Arizona was 2,349. Marijuana-friendly states statistically show a drop of the opioid epidemic by 24.8%. The cost from Medicare in marijuana states is approximately $165 million. If all 50 states did this, nearly $500 million would be saved. Marijuana is an obvious form solution for the opioid epidemic.
Wait, hold on. Doesn't marijuana do bad then good though? Like, it makes you lazy and, stupid. Not like Tylenol or aspirin.
There are many things, like great things and very bad things, that can contribute to relieving our pain or general discomfort. Marijuana is no different. Uh, the first thing is that smoking in general can damage your lungs, but unlike cigarettes, It won't cause cancer or lung disease. It just damages the lung tissue. Another bad thing about marijuana is that it can impair your cognitive abilities and memory. So basically, you won't be able to remember many things too well, and you won't be able to speak properly or, basic motor functions like walking. That's what makes you really lazy. You won't be as alert as you would if you were sober. But on the other hand, the really great things about weed is that it naturally grows THC. THC, it's like a really great relaxer for muscles, head pain, and because it's such a great relaxer, it works really well for people with anxiety. It ends up causing them down or calming them down, and yeah. But the unfortunate thing is that THC, the oil, it's a lot more stigmatized and seen as more dangerous than the actual weed plant is. So with all the negative effects that actually come with smoking weed and actually being high, you can't actually get the relieving effects with THC because people see THC as such a bad thing.
Well, that's pretty dope. I guess it really isn't that bad.
In order to understand how marijuana can become legal in Arizona, we must take a close look at the process of how a state law is changed. First of all, the idea of marijuana legalization must be developed. A legislator must sponsor this idea. The bill then must be drafted and introduced amongst the state legislature. After the bill has been thoroughly read and discussed in both the House of Representatives and Senate, a conference committee is made up of 2 members of each legislative body. This committee works out any issue they have with the bill. After this step is successful, the bill is finally passed on to the governor where it can be passed or vetoed. Once the bill is passed and signed by the governor, the law is officially changed. Legislation has been put off for over 100 years on federal levels due to a list of cons including addictive qualities, decreased mental health, altered perception, and the biggest one being that it is a gateway drug. Over the last few decades, society has been open-minded enough to see that none of these attributed cons of cannabis are true. We do know that THC is addictive, but not nearly on the level that we see being sold legally with nicotine and alcohol. We also know that THC does have reduction on brain cells, but so does barely hitting your head. Brain cells also naturally decrease over time. It could actually increase mental health due to decrease of stress and higher production of both serotonin and dopamine. Legal means that this product could prove great things for Arizona. We know how to legalize it and the steps it would take. Now it is time for people to decide how to vote, and hopefully this documentary shows you signs of why this plant deserves to be legal.
Oh, wow.
In conclusion, cannabis has many traits that give it natural benefits to humanity that cannot be found in other materials or substances that retains the safety that cannabis allows users. Now, knowing the basic history of cannabis in the United States, how its legalization would work, its effects on the pharmaceutical industry, and its pros and cons, you can decide whether you deem cannabis fit for legalization. This video has the goal to show you that many claims of cannabis are untrue, and to present the facts about cannabis that have value towards economic, society, medicinally, and socially. At the end of the day, Kathy Bates says it best. It's just weed.
John, can we turn this in?
Wowzers in my trousers, I guess we are done.